What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now today I'm going to do a review of the Lego Batman movie, which I went to go and see last night, and I apologise that this video isn't out sooner. I recorded the review last night, and basically it was all good, it was great, and then I went to badminton today and I came back and I was like, you know what, I'll edit, and then whilst it's rendering I'll have a shower and I'll come back out and it should be great, it should be all fine. I just started editing, and one of the three clips which I used, because I broke it up into three segments, the main solid bit in the middle, basically there was just a bit kind of in the beginning talking about the introduction, then there was the end, but the main core of the review got corrupted by this wonderful iPod that I'm using, and I don't know why. It's never done it before, so that really annoyed me actually. So I was like, oh, it's fine, I'll record it again, and yeah, I put the camera down, turned it around, and looked in the screen and thought, oh shit, I look like a homeless person. So I decided to have a shower first and come back out and look fresh-faced. So yeah, sorry if there's a bit of a delay with how long this video gets out. It's currently 3:35 on Saturday, so I'm hoping to get it out by this evening, but I mean, God knows, it could take forever. Anyway, I went to go and see the Lego Batman movie, and it was just me and a friend, and we were both 19, so when we turned up, we were obviously the oldest people there by a mile who, didn't have kids. So we were like, you know what, it's fine. What we'll do is we will just not laugh at anything, because then we'll look grown up and mature, and we'll still look like we're enjoying the movie. And it took us about 5 seconds, because they did a short film before the actual film. It took about 5 seconds in that one for us to start laughing, and we were like, you know what, this is fun. This is a short film. It's meant to be funny. It was very, slapstick humor based. So obviously, but we thought, this is fine. We'll take a second just to compose ourselves, and then once the film starts, we'll be like, nope, no laughing. We'll sit here and be very serious. And then the film started, and we lasted about 2 seconds. It's literally one of the best films I've seen in the last 8 months, easily. It surpasses Doctor Strange, it surpasses definitely Star Wars Rogue One. I would give it 4.5 stars out of 5 if I can do half stars. Can I do half stars? You know what, sod it, this is my video, this is my channel, I'm going to do 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars out of 5. It's very similar to Deadpool in that it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's a comic book film about a hero who kind of has to save a city and end up, discovering something about himself along the way, kind of like Deadpool. As I said, though, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's hilarious. The characters are very memorable. There wasn't any bad characters, I think. There were any characters where I was like, oh, I really don't like the character in this film. I thought they were all amazing. Obviously, it's not like Deadpool in the way that Deadpool had loads of swearing and very violent violence in it. Obviously, don't go and see that if you're, a fan of this film and you want to see a film like it. But, it fired a lot of shots at DC and other superhero movies, which I thought was kind of a clever twist. And you could definitely tell the people who make the DC live-action films were nowhere near present in this film, because it actually had a decent storyline and character development, which I've not seen in a DC film since The Dark Knight Rises. It's been one of those things where a Man of Steel, is it Henry Cavill, I believe, who's the Man of Steel? But his acting is pretty poor. He looks good, for the part, if you don't mind me saying, no homo. But he looks like a Superman, and in the action scenes, he obviously, he fits the bill, so he kind of just stands there and he's fighting, and he looks great, he looks like Superman. But when he's actually acting, and you could see this in Batman vs Superman, it was just not particularly good. Different problem with Ben Affleck, fantastic actor, good director, but you can tell that it's not his style of film. He's already walked away from The Batman, which is the standalone Batman film that we're getting. I feel like they didn't need to make, the prequels and stuff, and make it all into too many films. Lego Batman, simple. One film, it had no crossovers or anything. It had a couple of references to the Lego movie, and it was very similar in the writing and the design and the characters. It was just silly, and it was brilliant, and I loved it personally. It was also quite profound as well. The story essentially goes that Batman ends up saving Gotham at the beginning, and he ends up putting all the bad guys in Arkham, and then he decides that Joker's too dangerous to be kept in Arkham, so he puts him in the Phantom Zone, which is exactly what the Joker wants. And then the Joker breaks out a load of bad guys like Dracula and Voldemort and Daleks and King Kong and Sauron, and it was just brilliant. It was brilliant. They had loads of references from other films, but they didn't try and make it too central on those characters. There were a couple of subplots. The first being the relationship between the Joker and Batman. Batman is pushing everyone in his life away, including Alfred. He says that he doesn't care for anyone and that no one should care about him. So, the Joker and the Batman have always had this relationship where, they've been the forces of good and evil, and they've always, tried to best each other. And the Joker sees this as, this is his relationship with Batman, and Batman doesn't. He just sees it as, he's just another bad guy. And, that it has, gay undertones, obviously, because, they're talking about relationships the entire time. Which is perfectly fine. It's one of those things where you don't notice that unless you're older, which is one of the things I've always loved about the Lego Movie. It was one of the best films in that year. It had so many adult themes, even though it was a kid's film. But if you're a kid, you don't notice these themes. You only notice it's just Batman saving the city and stuff. So that was good. I really enjoyed that. Another subplot was Batman and his son. He ends up adopting a son, basically, because he just ends up kind of just agreeing to it off the bat, and he doesn't really, accept him. He kind of just uses him as collateral damage for a bit. What he essentially does is he ends up growing, fond of him, and he has to save Gotham again, but in doing so he has to go back to the Phantom Zone because he got cast back into the Phantom Zone by the Joker in the first place, and he was identified as a bad guy. So, he said he'd have to go back. And he just before he does, it gets very profound and emotional. And honestly, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to feel so emotional towards it because, it's a kid's film. And with the Lego Movie, it was all about, accepting who you are and everyone is special. And that was something which kind of, rang, true. Everyone has got special characteristics and everyone should feel special in some way because they are. With the Lego Batman Movie, it's a bit different. It was basically Batman is a person who tries to push everyone in his life away. Barbara Gordon wants to work with Batman and the police, and he ends up shunting them away. Alfred tries to give him life advice, he gets shunted away. Robin gets shunted away, obviously, because, he's his son, he doesn't really care for him, and it's the same with the Joker. And he learns that you're only trying to save yourself if you're being selfish, and it doesn't work. You have to have these people around you in order to work together as a team, and it's always better if you work together as a team. You can't shunt people out the way. They will always try and get back into your life. He tries to abandon Barbara, Robin, and Alfred. He tries to send them away in order to protect them, and they come back for him. And it is quite emotional towards the end because when he has to go back to the Phantom Zone, he doesn't. In the end, he gets let back in because he's now a good guy. Apparently, it just gets quite emotional because these people love him, and in the end, he loves them too. And it's just kind of one of those things where you look at it and you feel like maybe you can draw parallels to that in your life, and I feel like I can draw a bit of parallel to that in my life, in that you want to be on your own, but people still want to come into your life and be friends with you, and love you for who you are. And Batman is afraid to get back into a family because he lost his, and that was what he didn't want, and he tries to go it alone, and that doesn't work. You got to work together as part of a team. So it did hit me in the feels a bit, to be fair. I wasn't expecting it to hit me that hard in the feels. It got a bit emotional, but it's alright, I'm over that now. I'm not going to cry. Okay, I'm not going to cry. The only problem I would say with it is perhaps the singing, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I've always felt a bit there with the singing, especially with if it's not a musical. If it's not explicitly a musical, I don't tend to like any singing in films because that's not what I expected to go and see, and I didn't expect to go and see musical numbers. To be fair, there weren't many. I mean, with the it's similar to the Lego Movie. There's like occasional outbursts of song. And, they had it very easily with Everything's Awesome, and there wasn't really any others. And then there was obviously Batman singing in the Lego Movie as well, which, I mean, I was kind of keen on, but He just, you know, because it's Batman and because he's kind of got the deep gravelly voice. I'm like, you know, it's not really a singing voice, and he sings again at the beginning, and I was just a bit there. But to be honest, that's the only problem I have with this film. Is it's, you know, it's perfectly executed in pretty much every area, as I've said. You know, perfect story, perfect animation, perfect character design, perfect humour. It was just all good, and I recommend you go and see it. I'm not going to say everyone go and see it. Go and see it if you enjoyed the Lego Movie and if you enjoy feeling like a kid again. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.